Reflections on the Good News of Jesus Christ according to Matthew for the 33rd Sunday of Ordinary Time. Jesus told his disciples this parable. A man going on a journey called in his servants and entrusted his possessions to them. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to a third 1, to each according to his ability. Then he went away. Immediately, the one who received 5 talents went and traded with them and made another 5. Likewise, the one who received 2 made another 2. But the man who received 1 went off and dug a hole in the ground and buried his master's money. After a long time, the master of those servants came back and settled accounts with them. The one who had received 5 talents came forward, bringing the additional 5. He said, "Master, you gave me 5 talents. See, I have made 5 more." His master said to him, "Well done, my good and faithful servant. Since you were faithful in small matters, I will give you great responsibilities. Come, share your master's joy." Then the one who had received 2 talents also came forward and said, "Master, you gave me 2 talents. See, I have made 2 more." His master said to him, "Well done, my good and faithful servant. Since you were faithful in small matters, I will give you great responsibilities. Come, share your master's joy." Then the one who had received the 1 talent came forward and said, "Master, I knew you were a demanding person, harvesting where you did not plant and gathering where you did not scatter. So out of fear, I went off and buried your talent in the ground. Here it is back." His master said to him in reply, "You wicked, lazy servant. So you knew that I harvest where I did not plant and gather where I did not scatter. Should you not then have put my money in the bank so that I could have got it back with interest on my return? Now then, take the talent from him and give it to the one with 10. For to everyone who has, more will be given, and he will grow rich. But from the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away. And throw this useless servant into the darkness outside, where they will be wailing and grinding of teeth." The Gospel of the Lord. Ludwig van Beethoven, certainly one of the greatest composers who ever lived, was not a man known for his social grace. He was said to be uncomfortable and gruff with people. There is a story that when the son of a close friend died, Beethoven rushed to the home of his friend to express his grief. He had no words to offer, but for the next half hour, he sat at his friend's piano and expressed his emotions in the most eloquent way he could. When he had finished playing, the maestro quietly got up and left. His friend later said that no one else's visit meant as much to him and his family. Today's gospel poses 2 questions that are surprisingly hard for many of us to answer. First, what are you good at? No one of us is a Beethoven, nor are any of us a total disaster. We aren't completely devoid of any skills or, to use the gospel word, talents. You may not be able to perform brain surgery, but you can comfort a child just stung by a bee. You may not be able to paint beautiful watercolors, but you can roast a chicken and bake a pie that brings the family together on Sunday nights. You may not be a CEO, but when customers leave your checkout line, they're a bit happier and lighter in spirit because of the warm way you treated them. So, never mind the false modesty. Answer the question. What are you good at? What do you do well? What's the most meaningful contribution you can make to your family or church or community? The compassion to encourage and support others, the discipline to manage people, the patience to listen. The second question, what are you doing with that talent? If you can make a living off your talent and skill, terrific. But how are you contributing the good you possess to make the kingdom of God a reality here and now? To keep your talents to yourself is a betrayal of God's trust. To act as if you have nothing to contribute is an act of ingratitude to the God who gave you those skills and talents. So, what has God entrusted to you? And that's the word, entrusted. What has God invested in you for the good of the world? We seldom see the question that way. We're taught how to monetize whatever talents and skills we possess, translating our knowledge and abilities into successful careers. Or we're overwhelmed with a false sense of humility. We don't think our gifts are worth all that much to begin with, so we keep them to ourselves for our own amusement or diversion. But today's parable challenges us to see whatever talents we possess, be they the ability to manage a big organization or the quiet patience to heal a hurting child, to see them as a sacred trust. And our lives will be judged by how we use our talents, whether earth-moving or quietly healing, to realize God's kingdom of mercy and justice in our time and place. William Barclay makes 4 useful points in his commentary on this passage. First, God gives each person different gifts. Despite our tendencies always to compare ourselves with others, the actual number and quality of the gifts we are blessed with is not important. We are only asked to make full use of what we have been uniquely given, and to use our talents for the benefit of the community as a whole. When everyone does that, the community is enriched. Second, our work is never completed. When the first 2 servants showed how much they had earned, they were not told they could sit back and rest. No, because of their trustworthiness, even greater responsibilities were given to them. For to all those who have, more will be given, and they will have an abundance. Third, the one who will be punished is the one who does nothing. The man with the 1 talent did not lose it. He did not do anything with it at all. If he had tried and failed, he would have met compassion and forgiveness. The image of the master as a harsh man only emphasizes that if with such a person one should make an effort, all the more should one try where a loving, understanding, and compassionate God is concerned. Even the person with only 1 talent has something to offer to others. It is a sober warning that it is not just those who do evil deeds who will lose out, but also those who have no positively good works to show. But I didn't do anything. That's not an acceptable excuse. Fourth, for to all those who have, more will be given. But from those who have nothing, even what they have will be taken away. Now, that seems rather unfair, like robbing the poor to pay the rich. But Jesus is saying that those who share generously the gifts that they have been given are likely to find themselves constantly enriched. Those who jealously preserve what they have been given, hoard it, and go into their shell in fear of the outside world are likely to shrivel up and die. Those who save their lives will lose them. Those who share generously what they have with others will find themselves immeasurably enriched. It is the law of the gospel. It is also a law of life which many of us in practice find hard to believe. It is in this context that another interpretation has been given to the parable, namely, that it is a criticism of a religious tradition which refuses to develop. This is a constant phenomenon of all religions, including our own. Many of the Jews in Jesus' time jealously protected the law and tradition. They were opposed to any change or any development. In the process, they forgot the original spirit of the law and naturally were opposed to Jesus, who constantly criticized this stance. In our church today, there are people who do not want to change anything, who want to go back to the old ways of doing things. They want to bury the Spirit of God in a shroud of tradition. They want old wine in old wineskins. That is not the way of Jesus. Greatness in the kingdom of God is not defined by the talents or resources we possess, but rather what we are able to accomplish with what we have been given. Some of us possess great skills in medicine, in science, in literature, in the arts. Some of us possess the ability to listen, to offer encouragement and care, to translate compassion into support and healing. Every one of us has some measure of talent, ability, or skill, talents that have been entrusted to us by the Master. Jesus is teaching us today that our place in the reign of God will depend on our stewardship of those talents, whether we bury them in fear or selfishness, or use them readily to reveal the presence of God in our midst. Thanks for listening.